Welcome back to Taja's Garden. I'm the gardening realtor. If you're new here, I'm glad you're here, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about grow bags and buckets. I'm going to tell you what I think did phenomenal in the grow bags and buckets and things that I would not plant again in the grow bags and buckets. I do want to start off by saying if you have drip irrigation in your container garden, then this most likely isn't for you. But if you are like me and you don't have drip irrigation in your container garden, listen closely. So I only have drip irrigation installed in my main garden. My main garden is raised beds only. I have so many plants out there. But aside from my main garden, I also have buckets and grow bags. I have considered adding drip irrigation to it, but I just haven't done it yet. With that in mind, here are my opinions. First up would be tomatoes. I would not grow tomatoes in a grow bag anymore. In my experience, these grow bags dried out faster than the tomatoes are able to take up the water. And in order for that tomato plant to produce those big, beautiful fruit, it actually needs a lot of water. So in order to give the tomato what it actually needs in these grow bags, you will actually have to be watering these every single day and sometimes twice a day, at least where I'm from. Now let's move on over to watermelon. Now I have had this watermelon in this grow bag for months now, specifically since June. It is now September and it has yet to produce any fruit. And watermelon actually needs a lot of water to create that melon. So I water this grow bag very often, but it dries out too fast for watermelon. Now I absolutely loved growing potatoes in my grow bags. I had no issues out of that. And I also have some blueberry plants in some grow bags, some 20-gallon grow bags, and they are doing fantastic as well. I haven't had any issues out of those. They don't really need a lot of water at this point. They have not grown any berries, so they are doing phenomenal. Once the berries come, I want to make sure that I install a drip irrigation to those grow bags. Now let's move on over to containers. This is a jalapeno pepper plant right here, and I always grow peppers in buckets every single year and in my raised beds, and I don't see a big difference. The one thing I probably would say is the pepper plants that grow in my raised beds sometimes will tend to get a little bit bigger, but if you're wanting to know the difference in yield, it's about the same. Peppers are heavy feeders, which means they will need fertilizer from time to time, and fertilizer does tend to wash out of buckets quicker than raised beds. Something I would never grow in a bucket would be okra. Okra needs to get a lot of space in order to get the yield that you're wanting. And buckets, containers, and grow bags is no place for an okra plant unless you have a dwarf style okra plant. Another plant that I noticed I will never grow in a bucket, grow bag, or some type of container will be cucumber. So I grew cucumber in buckets for as long as I can remember. This is actually the first year that I've grown cucumber in my raised bed, and this has been my best year of growing cucumbers. I have had a big yield, a huge yield, so it's safe to say I will never grow cucumber in a bucket again, unless you choose a really big bucket so that it can get enough space. But cucumbers are also heavy feeders and they love their moisture. In-ground or raised beds is a perfect way to go for cucumbers. Now I have never grown cantaloupe in a container, but after this year I definitely will never grow cantaloupe in a container. I have gotten more than 20 cantaloupes this year so far, and I still have more growing. This just goes to show that cantaloupe absolutely needs as much space as you are willing to give it. If you are looking for the easiest way to start a garden, I would skip grow bags and go to buckets. Buckets are going to hold the moisture in longer than grow bags will. So if you are working a lot, if you don't have the opportunity to water your garden every single day or twice a day sometimes, depending on the weather, stick with buckets. And if you can even go further, go ahead and get those raised beds. And if you're fortunate enough, go ahead and do in-ground. But I am changing my opinion on grow bags. They dry out too fast, and I have had a lot of disappointment this year with my grow bags. I grew some watermelons, tomatoes, potatoes, herbs, blueberries, and brassica plants in my grow bags this year. This is the first time I grew brassicas in my grow bags this year. I just wanted to give it a try. I grew some in a bucket too, and they actually did better in the bucket than they did in the grow bag. I grew cabbage and broccoli inside of the buckets and grow bags. Cabbage needs a lot of water, if you didn't know. Just like tomatoes and watermelon, they need a lot of water. And if you are not in the position where you can keep up with the moisture level in that grow bag all the time, then grow bags is not the way to go. They are also not vacation friendly unless you have drip irrigation installed. Again, I know I'm going to have some people in the comments that are going to argue with me to add drip irrigation. I said in the very beginning, I do not have drip irrigation in my container garden, so keep that in mind. This video is purely for the people who are looking for the easiest route. You would assume that grow bags would be the easiest route to go for a beginner gardener, but if you are a beginner gardener and you're not retired, you're not at home all the time, grow bags are going to make the work 10 times harder than buckets and raised beds. Now, grow bags are definitely 100% the cheapest route to go, unless you are getting free buckets somewhere, because they come in large packets for less money. So you may get 10 for $15 or 10 for $20, depending on where you purchase them from. So I understand that that right there would make the person assume this is the best way to go for a beginner gardener. Now, I am not a beginner gardener, but this year I have become a little upset or fed up with the grow bags, and I just thought I would let people know. If you are a beginner gardener and you have grow bags and you're wondering why things are not thriving, it is not you. It is the grow bag. Grow bags dry out because they are fabric. They are made of fabric. So there are a lot of benefits that come to that. Your plants are able to air prune and continue to grow more roots, because once it reaches the edge of the grow bag, the air is going to basically air prune that root off. There are a lot of benefits, but I'm here to tell you, you can absolutely have a phenomenal garden without any grow bags. I do believe that if you do have drip irrigation for your grow bags and containers, that will be perfect. But just keep in mind that the grow bags don't hold on to much moisture, and if it does, it doesn't hold on to it very long. So for me specifically, I am going to be cutting down on the grow bags next year and getting more buckets. The reason is I absolutely love a container garden. It's so versatile. You can grow so many more things. I already have 6 raised beds, but the container garden allows me to grow so many more things without having to dig up more of my yard and installing more raised beds. It's a cheaper route. I will continue to grow potatoes in buckets and grow bags. I actually had a better yield out of my grow bags with potatoes because potatoes don't like to be overly soaked. So I had a phenomenal experience with potatoes in my grow bags this year. The smallest bucket that I do have is a 5-gallon bucket, but I am going to be investing in even bigger buckets. I know someone who grows tomatoes in, I believe, a 15-gallon container, and they do absolutely great. So I think that's what I'm going to do next year. I love growing tomatoes in my raised beds as well, but in order for me to be able to grow so many different varieties, I absolutely need to grow some in some containers. Well, that is just a few plants that I am willing to grow in containers or grow bags, and a few plants that I will never grow in containers or grow bags again. Let me know down in the comments if you want me to do a part 2 or if you have any questions. And as always, thank you for watching. If you have not already subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you want to be a part of an amazing gardening community, go on over to Facebook, type in Prosper and Plant, and I'll see you over there.